Edwards from cookingwithkimberly.com, and today I'm going to show you how to blanch nasturtium leaves. Now this is how you would blanch any other type of green that you would want to freeze and keep. I harvested them all today. Look at them all, aren't they gorgeous? A giant, enormous bowl of them. I could have gotten more. I like to keep the nice, tiny, tender ones. For this kind of purpose, I keep the larger ones, sort of like this, but I have a whole slew of other ones. Make sure you check out that show. I have these large ones that I like to use to stuff, so stuffed nasturtium leaves. But I want to keep these in the freezer for my wintertime stock. So that's what I did. Make sure you check out how to store nasturtium leaves for stuffing. Now, this is going to be blanched, and alongside here I've got another sister bowl, and I'm going to put some ice in there because it's going to be an ice bath. On my stovetop, I have a large soup pot and it is boiling furiously. I have about a tablespoon of salt in there and it's ready to go. Next thing you're gonna need is one of these, okay? And a kitchen timer. You're gonna need something to scoop this stuff out because I have a huge slew of it to do and I don't want to waste all that water. I want to dump the water out every time. So I've got some ice here. Just happen to have an ice bag in my freezer this time, which doesn't usually happen, but I did. So that's perfect for this purpose because my two little ice cube trays don't get a lot done when I'm trying to do mass blanching and storing, okay? So I want this to be nice and cold. You're gonna have a lot of hot stuff coming in here and you want it to stay cold, right? That looks good. If I need to add a little bit more for another batch, I have a little bit left. Okay, so into my giant pot of boiling water, I'm going to throw in a couple handfuls at a time. That looks like about half of the nasturtium leaves, and I'm going to put them underneath the water. I want that water to come back up to a boil as quickly as possible because my timer doesn't start until they come back up to a boil. That looks like about right. I used about, 3 giant handfuls of nasturtium leaves. They look good. So they've all wilted down already. They're all in the water, don't be worried. And it is coming back up to a boil. Put that lid back on. You're gonna wait a minute or two. Start making your bags out. Put the date on them and what it is. In my instance, I'm just putting the year because I know it's this time of year that I harvest. Back up to the boil. Set your timer for 3 minutes. Now you don't want it to boil furiously either because those nasturtium leaves are pretty delicate. So once it comes back up to that boil, bring it down to a simmer just to maintain that heat. I like to leave the lid on for that purpose. So I put about as much as I feel my family needs for one meal into each bag, and that way it keeps everything really handy. I can just go to the freezer and I can say, ooh, green beans and nasturtium leaf greens for dinner, okay? And that's it. Just grab it and go, and you know exactly how much you need. Now, if you've never dealt with nasturtium before, nasturtium, the entire plant can be eaten. You can eat the leaves, you can eat the flowers, you can eat the seed pods, you can eat the stems. You know what I mean? Very simple, and they're a high-yielding plant. They produce a lot of leaves and a lot of flowers. They're great. They're really tasty. It's kind of like a green radish flavor. It's very peppery, really nice. When I harvest the leaves for the stuffing, I cut the stem off right up to the leaf, okay? These guys, it doesn't really matter. When I harvest, I just grab because you can eat whatever you want on it. So you can eat a stem. If you have a couple stems mixed in there, it's all good. This is simmering just perfectly, just barely boiling underneath there. So I know it's not killing my nasturtium leaves. Now I'm going to move this over by where I'm going to remove just for ease of use and less splashing. So you're going to take your little handy dandy scooper and you're going to scoop them out, your slotted spoon. Scoop them out, throw them right into the ice bath, and immediately put a whole nother batch right back in to be blanched. My timer. Ready? They're beautiful, bright green. They're softened slightly. Because that slotted spoon helps you so much. Plunge them into this water bath. Stop them from cooking. Mix them around in there. These cook up very similarly to how spinach would cook, and they almost taste similar to spinach as well, with just a little bit of a peppery. Yet another green leafy vegetable that you can eat that's healthy for you. Okay, they're all out. I'm bringing this back up to a boil. I'm actually gonna add like this much more water just because I lost a little bit. Now, a lot of the ice is gonna melt. The water is still cold. Make sure you move that stuff around so that everything gets cool quicker. Now, don't these look pretty? These look like little lily pads. That's the shape of these bad boys. Look how pretty they are. Are they nice? I'll show you a fresh one. They look like little lily pads, and they're just really fun. They're really tasty in salads. You can use them. You can use them in dips. You can use them in soups and stews, and I've even used them in my shepherd's pie the other night, mixed in with my potatoes, just like I would with parsley. So in order to harvest these, I just went in there and I just looked for the nicest, freshest, most beautiful leaves. And you're gonna be gentle and try and remove them from the stem. If you have stems, that's cool, like I said. And then you're gonna bring them in and you're gonna rinse them under cold water in your colander really, really well, because sometimes they can get really sandy or dirty. I mean, they grow from the dirt. Do you know what I mean? Here's an example of a stem, and those are edible, and it's all gravy. Okay? So you're going to rinse them off, and that's all I've done to prepare them. And I think I will put the rest of this ice in here. Make sure everything's nice and cold. It's back up to the boil, so I'm gonna throw them back in again. Here we go. I'm gonna put the rest of what I have here. It's just a little bit more than maybe 3 handfuls. It'll all wilt down in 2 seconds. Lid on. Wait for it to come up to a boil really quick. Now I'm just gonna use a colander. Once I have all of this in the ice bath, after this is cooked, the second batch, I'm going to strain it all into a colander to get rid of all the water. I'm gonna let it sit there for just a little while too, because I don't want excess water in these bags. It's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for just nasturtium. I don't want to store nasturtium in water. So we're gonna drain it as best we can. Here it comes up to the boil, set it for 3 minutes. Turn it down, so it's just boiling right. A little stir. So yeah, I'm gonna let this just sit in my sink for a little while and just completely drain as much as it wants to, and then we'll package it up. Okay, my timer went off, and I'm already starting to transfer everything into the ice bath, just the same as I did the last one. Okay, before you strain this, I wanna make sure that everything in here is not warm anymore. It has stopped cooking. That's the only thing you're trying to achieve, is that from stopping cooking. So if it feels like it's warm or you have little chunks, you might have to move them around because they can hold that heat inside of a little ball in here. So they're all good. All is well, everything's cooled down. Now, I'm going to strain them and I'm going to bring them back here. This is the bowl that I had holding all my nasturtium leaves, remember at the beginning? And this is what I have left in my colander. That's it. So that looks like it's probably about maybe 4 dinners worth of side dish. Now, I had it still straining because there were a couple pieces of ice in here that are still melting and they're going to want to strain out too. So if you have to, try and find them. Squeeze out a little bit of the excess liquid if you want to, because you don't want to store that water, you just want to store the nasturtium. It's like how they would pack up a frozen box of spinach that you would get at your grocer in the freezer section. They blanch it, they pack it all up like this into a little brick. And then you bring it home and you take it all apart again, serve it with butter, seasonings. It's delicious. I'm going to drain all this excess water. So now I have these handy dandy bags that I've already prepared. They're already labeled Nasturtium 2013. I know that they're blanched. They're big pop chunks, right? Big chunks of compressed leaves. So I'm just going to take, I don't know, a couple little handfuls worth of what I think that my family would eat between a couple of us for one night's side dish, right? When it comes to greens, you don't eat a whole lot, right? You eat a little bit, and then you have other side dishes as well. So I think that's about good. That's just a little bit more. Okay, that's about a side dish meal for all of us. I just need a little, like a handful, a scoop on your plate of that stuff, and you're good to go. So my side dish is ready for one of my meals already. And I'm just, look how easily these are gonna store up in my freezer. Just like that, little rolls. And they're labeled on the outside so you can see if you do it right. Get all the air out that you can. So you put in as much as you think. All the air out. Seal that tight. And pack them. So it looks like I'm gonna have about 4 of them. I don't know. We'll see. So now I have 3 nice bags full. I went and redid it. I have 3 bags that look appropriate for my side dishes, and I'm good to go. That's how you do it. That's how you blanch nasturtium leaves. You can do it any time of year, I guess, if you have them. And that's it. That's all. Follow me on Twitter at Cooking with Kim E with a capital E. I hope you like the fan page. It's facebook.com/cookingwithkimberly. My shows are on ifood.tv/cookingwithkimberly and youtube.com/cookingwithkimberly. And my site is cookingwithkimberly.com. That's it. That's all. Be a champion in your kitchen and eat deliciously. Bye.